Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Yes, the CHGO Cubs Podcast, the best Cubs podcast on the internet. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, but also it is facts.
True.
Yeah?
It's not FAX. It's just facts.
Just facts, right?
There you go.
Welcome in. No Luke Stuckmeyer today. So it's just me and Ryan, and we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the fact that the four main Boras clients are still available, as we all know. There was a good article or a good blog on Bleacher Nation about Morel. It didn't go super in-depth, but it gave me an idea of something we can talk about related to Morel that we haven't really talked about all offseason, in my opinion. And then I heard AJ Hinch talking about Javi Baez yesterday, and I want to talk about Javi Baez at the end of the show. So hit the like button. That's the first thing. Hit the like button. Also, super chat already. Ricky. What up, Ricky? I see you in this chat all the time. $2. Just wanted to say credit to Cody for being Cody. That's very big of you to send. I should screenshot it and put it like on my my Twitter header. That should be my Twitter header, all right? Maybe I'll do that. But thank you for the super chat. I see other names in the chat. Becky, Godfather, Michael, Greg, DFW Susie. I know she's a diehard. Speaking of the diehards, I want to give a shout-out to Jackie, Nico, Aaron, William, Eddie, Mick, Larry, and Jim. You're all new diehards. Credit to you guys.
Yeah, 110 new diehards in January.
Yeah.
And I want to smash that in February.
Yeah.
Just
We're looking for
blow way
like
past
210 in February.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a lofty goal.
We're going to do double that in fewer days.
Yeah.
Double that.
We're going to
Right?
take that leap year and we're just going to run right into March.
Right.
Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your kids,
friends.
tell your brothers, Goldfish,
And
everyone sign up.
Right. And right now, especially if you're a Cubs fan, it's the perfect time to sign up because the Cubs season is right around the corner. We're doing more events this year. I believe we're going to do at least 3 takeovers, which are going to be fun. Me and my guy, Greg Braggs, are going to be out at Wrigley Field a lot this summer. Unconfirmed, but pretty much confirmed. Either way, it's a great time to become a diehard because I think we're definitely going to be out in the community a lot more. Also,
I was going to say, I know people have asked how to become a diehard. You got to go over to allchgo.com. There's a diehard tab. There, you click Become a Diehard, and there you can find all the information, all the benefits of becoming a diehard, how to sign up, do all that stuff. So make sure you go to allchgo.com, click that tab, the diehard tab, and get signed up, join the community.
And you get a free shirt. Maybe the Sammy Sosa one, bring him home.
Yes.
Bring him home.
What a great point. Big of Steven to say because he's a Sox fan.
Yeah. Huge of me.
Very big of you. The Sosa shirt or hoodie. The hoodie will be perfect in April, right? If you're in the area and you're going to Wrigley for an April game, which the good thing about going to Wrigley in April is that the tickets are usually pretty cheap because no one wants to go to Wrigley in April because the weather is it's just so unpredictable. You could get a 70-degree day or you could get a 30-degree day with some flurries or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think the hoodie of this bring Sammy home would be great on a day like that. But so do all that. Another reason to become a diehard, and this is like recent stuff, is that the CHGO Cubs Discord is going off about Barb. People are
not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. And the reason being is I believe someone created a parody Barb account last night because I've started tweeting my top 10 favorite Barb comments from each show the last 2 days. And in turn, it led to someone creating a parody Barb account. Now, Barb, if you actually did create an account, hi. I appreciate you following me on Twitter. You should become a diehard too. But what's funny about what's going on in CHGO...
Wait, hold on. Is this live?
We are live.
Just checking. Just wanted to check. Thank you.
And I haven't seen Barb in the chat yet, so these last couple of days she's been coming in kind of late. So hopefully, she sees this. But the thing that's funny these last handful of days is that people they're just so mesmerized by Barb because she sends some of the funniest comments in the chat. And this goes into the fact that the community is incredible in the CHGO Discord.
Yeah.
So this is all good and fun, Barb. It's nothing against you at all. But I do find it hilarious that someone made a parody account of you. At least I believe that's what it is. Because I replied to someone saying that they should create, or someone should create a fake Barb account and then just start telling me to charge my phone every day and tell me to text Hoyer to, not trade everyone or something, the classic Barb comments, you know what I mean? So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to the CHGO Cubs Discord because it's been cracking me up the last couple of days with all the conversation because the Cubs haven't been doing anything, at least these last handful of weeks, as far as signing these main one or two of these Boras clients that we've been talking about all off season, right?
Sorry, I'm getting word. The Cubs have just made the Hector Neris signing official, 1-year deal, club option for 2025, and to make room on the 40-man, Michael Rucker has been designated for assignment.
Oh,
and this is actually, hey Gary, I was right. We were in
Credit
the Discord.
to you.
We were in the Discord yesterday, kind of chopping it up. Gary was in there, Susie, a couple others, and kind of. I think Gary had actually asked about making room on the 40-man, and I said, Michael Rucker.
I think I said something.
It's just the fact that he's a guy just shuttling back and forth from AAA to big leagues, was only really taking up mop-up duty situations kind of thing. Like if they were going to release someone on that 40-man as a pitcher, like that was a guy that I'm like could be on the chopping block for that. But
when I was in the Discord last week and we did reactionary stuff to the Neris signing, he asked me along the same question, and I credit to me for saying this. I said that you're better with these like roster things because you know more about it than I do. But I believe I did say Michael Rucker was an option that I think that they would DFA. So
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Real quick, just want to shout out Eric Ulrichs just signed up to be a diehard.
Hell yeah,
Credit
Eric.
to you,
Incredible.
Eric.
Ulrichs.
Incredible.
Is that how you pronounce it? Ulrichs? If
my
so,
best.
there's a bar in Peoria, Illinois called Ulrichs. It's one of my favorite bars there when I lived there for about a year and a half. Back in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series. People forget that. But thanks for becoming a diehard, bro. As far as this move that you just told us that was official, I don't think anyone's very upset to see Michael Rucker, or surprised even surprised to see that Michael Rucker was the one DFA'd.
No, yeah.
It made it to me. I feel like he could be. Explain this to me that way I get this right. He's DFA'd and he will now go through waivers, right? And then he could be outrighted to the Cubs AAA. If that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Because I don't think he's been DFA'd before. I don't know off the top of my head if he has, but like, the Cubs DFA'd, designated for assignment, they can place him on waivers, and if another team claims him, they bring him on, or if he goes through waivers, doesn't get claimed, the Cubs can, I believe, assign him to Iowa.
Okay,
I'd have to make sure.
Just
because I don't remember for sure if he has been DFA'd in the past, but I don't think he has.
Okay, well. Till then, I have one very, very important question, and that question is, what was your favorite part of the Michael Rucker era?
My favorite was the phrase you just said?
What was your favorite part of the Michael Rucker
part
era?
of the Michael Rucker era?
Yeah,
was the friends we made along.
The friends we made.
No,
along he had some good moments. He also had some bad moments.
No, he had some good moments. Like I said, he was that kind of guy that came in. Mop up duty and maybe takes a couple innings here and there, and he was the guy that shuttled back and forth between Iowa and the big leagues, and he wasn't going to be their linchpin or their cornerstone of their bullpen or anything, but he was a good dude, worked hard, and hopefully he latches on wherever, right? If someone claims him or they're able to keep him in the system, good dude, and see where he can go from here.
Yeah. I see DFW Susie says Rucker had a few moments last year.
Yeah, like I said, he had some moments over the last couple of years. It just he wasn't one of those trusted relievers. He wasn't getting the high leverage kind of stuff.
Right.
He was kind of going in for mop up duty, eat up some innings, whether the Cubs were ahead by a lot or down by a lot. That was kind of his role, and that's a role that player that needs to be filled on a team, right? A guy that can just come in and take up the innings so you don't use your best relievers every day. Like that is a role that has to be filled. Not that it's, not that it can't be filled by someone else, obviously, but
sure.
So he was a good dude, nice to talk to. Got along with him, but we'll see. We'll see where he goes. We'll see if they can keep him in the system.
Yeah. I, related to other former Cubs relievers, I was going to get to this later in the segment, but since we're talking about relievers now because of this official news regarding Neris, I saw before the show, and credit to Gary for DMing me on Twitter about it so I could see it. Brandon Hughes signed a minor league deal with the Diamondbacks, Cubs legend officially now. Obviously last year was hurt for most of it, I believe with a knee injury, right? He was really good for the Cubs in 2022. Hell, he was getting closing opportunities at the end of the season in 2022. Just couldn't stay healthy last year. They went into 2023 hoping that he could be like that consistent lefty to come out of the pen for them. Just didn't really work out. Signs a minor league deal with the Diamondbacks. We'll see how things play out. Their bullpen, I remember outside of the postseason last year, the Diamondbacks bullpen was not great. So we'll see where he fits in the fold there. If he makes it out of camp, again, it's a minor league deal, so he could end up in AAA to open the season for them. But he was always an interesting one just because, remember, he came up as a position player, and then they turned him into a reliever.
Yeah, he was an outfield. I don't remember exactly the year. I'd have to look that up. But he was an outfielder for years, right? And then I remember he was telling the story that at one point they kind of basically sat him down and were like, "There's just no more room for you as an outfielder in the system, but we think you can convert to a pitcher." And obviously for a guy who was about to lose his job, right, probably about to be released, had he not agreed to give it a try, he converted to a reliever, converted to a pitcher, and had success. Kind of, he's one of those guys that just kind of came up out of nowhere. Like, you'd heard the name thrown around there every once in a while, but he wasn't like this big time guy that was just. He just kind of moved up pretty quickly, and all of a sudden he was in the big leagues, right, in 2022. And it's funny because he debuted the same day that Morel. He actually debuted before Morel. They both got called up the same day and debuted that day. Yep. And Brandon Hughes had his own little historical debut itself. Do you have the numbers?
So he pitched his major league debut. I think he pitched 1 2/3 of an inning, and he struck out 5 guys. So every out he made was via the strikeout, which was he became the first player in the modern era to do that or something like that.
So he had his own little historical kind of debut, and obviously Morel's home run and what Morel's done since. He's that's kind of the one that gets remembered. But like Brandon Hughes had a great debut, and he had a really good 2022. 2023 obviously didn't work out for him, and now he's elsewhere. Now he's taking a spring training invite in Arizona. So. Yeah, we'll see. But another guy that was, easy to talk to, easy to get along with, worked really hard, and when he's right and healthy, you saw how good he could be. And like that's why we talked about last year going into the season. Like we felt he was going to be an important part of the bullpen, right? And it just didn't work out. The knee issue became a thing, and he just never got right. And that was tough for the Cubs bullpen because they were definitely relying on him to be one of those guys against lefty options. And that's why for most of the season, like Mark Leiter Jr. was really the only guy.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Hughes can be a good example of, kind of like what we were talking about yesterday with, how injuries happen, how guys don't necessarily continue to have the success that they may have had the year before, at least especially the young guys that don't have a ton of major league success. And that's why you can't prospect hoard. You can't just rely on all these prospects to come up and light the world on fire. And with that said, I yesterday Wandy Peralta signed with the Padres, and then Jake Diekman reportedly is headed to the Mets. And I know the Cubs are kind of linked to Diekman, who's a lefty for the Rays and White Sox last year. Really struggled with the White Sox at the beginning of the year. Then he went to the Rays, and the Rays did what the Rays did and got him back to like what he basically had been his entire career. I also listened on Robert Murray's podcast, the Baseball Insiders, he reported on that podcast on Tuesday that the Cubs are still part of the reliever market. They're still interested in bringing one more guy in, or at least one more guy in. So to see these two guys gone, I'm intrigued in who they're thinking. They have, like we kind of talked about it this week in general, they have a lot of guys in the bullpen. It's just like not really a lot of them have a lot of major league experience or have proven to done it for a long time. And so maybe another veteran wouldn't be so bad somewhere there in the middle.
Yeah. And this is actually another benefit of the being a diehard. We were in the Discord chat, me, Gary, Susie, and some others, just kind of chopping up about the Cubs. And this is also brought up about, would they still bring in a reliever? And just I think it's possible, right? Like they brought in Hector Neris, and Yency Almonte is a little bit of a reclamation project kind of guy. But I think my main point was they have, I would say, 6 guys right now on the 40-man that don't have 6 bullpen guys on the 40-man that don't have any options left. And that's the flexibility aspect of it makes it a little tougher for me to see them going out and signing someone that doesn't really move the needle, right? Like if there's someone out there, and I haven't taken a look at the reliever market in a little bit, but like if there's someone out there that they really believe is going to be a difference maker for them, then I can see it, right? But if it's someone that's just going to be filling in that Michael Rucker type role, or right there at the lowest of the leverage situations in the bullpen, my gut would say that they would rather, stick to internal options, guys with options that can be moved back and forth from Iowa into the big leagues, versus bringing in a guy that's just going to take up another bullpen spot without the ability to be flexible. And we've seen how bullpen depth, bullpen health, and flexibility in the bullpen can be, can be advantageous for teams, or as the Cubs showed last year, how the lack thereof can be disastrous for a bullpen. So, again, I think it's possible. I don't know what names the Cubs are for sure looking at, but if it's someone with options that they're bringing in, it's possible too. But unless it's a difference maker, veteran reliever, I don't know if that's someone that they would bring in just because we're talking about flexibility for flexibility's sake. Fair. Maybe it's a non-roster invite type thing. Bring them into spring training, similar to what they've got with like Carl Edwards Jr. and some of those guys that they've brought in this offseason. But we'll see. Anything can happen. The nearest deal kind of came out of nowhere. So we don't. A lot of these, especially with the reliever side, a lot of these kind of move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, I like Mike Taylor's comment, not the one on the screen, but the one reference he sent before that Steven put up. It said Wick with an I, as in Bradwick. Brandon Hughes, then Ethan Roberts, all guys we thought were going to be bullpen mainstays. Injuries change all of that. Slim chance we might see Wick back on the 40-man this year. Now, of those guys you mentioned, I'm still optimistic about Ethan Roberts. He's very young, and I can't blame him for having to have Tommy John. There's so many pitchers are having Tommy John this year, so I'm still optimistic about him. Our conversation with Tommy Hotovy, I asked him about Ethan Roberts a little bit. You should go check that out. Barb, you asked in the chat if the Cubs are bringing back Tommy Hotovy. Yes, he's going to be the pitching coach this year. I promise you, he will be there. I did not tell Jed to let him go. Okay.
But you do want to trade all the young players.
I do want to trade all the young players. I absolutely want to trade them all. Assad, Wisniewski, I want to trade them all, guys. Send them all straight to the moon, or send them somewhere for a bag of balls. That's exactly what I want. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, I buy that.
All right, if Ryan buys it, it must be true. Okay, so anyway, yeah, the reliever market is interesting, and we'll see what happens. Barb, what else do you have? They have Horton coming up. He's going to be very good. Hope Cody doesn't tell Hoyer to trade him.
Ooh,
already did, Barb.
Don't do it.
Already did.
You got to charge your phone first before you can do it, though.
Well, that's true. I have not charged my phone today. I'm just a mess right now, Barb. I don't know what to do. Yeah. I'll work on it, though. Anyway.
Would you like to see Horton come up as a reliever role, or do you want them to just bring him up when he's ready to join the rotation? Like, I compare it to what they did with Steele in 2021, where he came up for, I want to say, a couple months that he was up relieving. I know he got hurt, and that's why he kind of went back down and got stretched out. But
this year, I wouldn't be opposed to him coming up in a reliever role, just because he is only a year and a half removed from Tommy John, correct? Right? So
something like that, 2 years.
And so they're trying to build up the innings, and that's why I feel like, mid-season is more likely when we see him. So how they will limit those innings, perhaps maybe in that kind of role, and then maybe let him go full go in 2025. But I don't know. What would I like to see? Depends on who's having success for the Cubs, right? If Steele's having another solid year, if Hendricks is still Kyle Hendricks, and Imanaga has, if he's consistent in a lot like he was in Japan, and Jordan Wicks, whoever else, if you're getting good contributions out of your rotation, and it's not an automatic we got to put him in there.
Yeah.
Then I'm probably okay with him going to the bullpen. And then maybe you can let him loose later in the year whenever, maybe if you're in a pennant race, or who knows, maybe if they're running away with division, maybe he earns himself a start. I just think with what we've seen with injuries and stuff like that, I could see him getting a few spot starts, but I don't necessarily know if he'll automatically jump into the rotation, or if I even want him to. I want him to be on the Cubs in midseason, just because his stuff is great, and I want to see him pitch, but I don't think it's an automatic, we need to put this guy in the rotation. You know what I mean?
I think I feel the opposite. Because obviously, like you mentioned, if he's going to come up and go right into the rotation, that means there's some underperformance or some injuries in the rotation. I don't know that I want to see him come up in the bullpen role. Guys can do it. Guys have done it. Obviously, we saw Justin Steele, but for a guy like Horton, and I think this goes to I think this bullpen is right now better prepared to handle the 162 game season. I think they have, veteran guys. Obviously, guys like Julian Merriweather, Adbert have a full year of experience in those roles under their belt. They brought in Nearest. Drew Smiley was actually pretty good in the reliever role after they moved him out there last year. And then obviously some of the young guys, Palencia and Luke Little, going to get more experience. There's other guys on the way. Bailey Horn's another name that could pop in there. I don't know. I think there's enough depth and effectiveness in there to get them through the 162. And for Horton, I don't know. I think it's just I don't know if you want to do it where, because obviously relievers, their volume is just not what starters have. They just don't have. They're just doing things differently than what starting pitchers do. The routines are different. What they have to ask out of their own bodies is different. Maybe he can come up as a piggyback type guy. I guess that's an option. But I think I would. I think if I'm picking between one or the other, I think having him up just directly into a starting position, and not asking him to go 7-8 innings every time. Maybe he's the starter of the piggyback guy.
Sure.
Maybe that's an option. But I think I'd rather have him be a starter, keep him on a starter's routine. You mentioned it; they're going to still have a little bit of a limit on his innings. So if he's a starter, they can limit that way, and they can keep him on that routine. I think that's the better option than just putting him right into the bullpen.
Yeah. To be clear, guys, some people in the chat are yelling at me. I want to see him start. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised just based off how the organization has worked with certain starters in the past, all right? So, and somehow, some way, the chat has turned to the conversation of Jose Cuas, who I think is obviously going to be one of the greatest pitchers in Cubs history. Anyway, I think Horton certainly can make a huge be one of those extremes that hit for the Cubs in 2024 that perhaps puts them in, the pennant race, or maybe puts them into a position where they're really competing for a legit playoff spot. So I remember we had Greg Huss on here, and I haven't forgot that day because of what he said. Just lit my eyes up so much. He said 6 starts in the minors and he'll be up with the Cubs. That's what he said that he wants to see, because he thinks he's seen enough of him in the minors. I don't know if that's going to happen. Hell, he doesn't know if that's going to happen. But he watches the minor league. He watches minor league baseball more than I do. So I'm willing to trust a guy like that. And if it's more than 6, so be it. Depends on where the Cubs are at that time. If they need a spark, if they need an arm because there's an injury, then sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. So. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited about Horton. He's the one guy, for me, as much as Barb and everyone in the chat thinks I want to trade all the good young players, which, obviously, some of them I do. He's the one that I don't want to trade, right? Yeah. So, anyway, we got a lot more to talk about. The very first segment we were going to start the show with, we completely skipped over because of all the reliever, the Neris thing. So we'll do that here in the second segment. First, listen, let me tell you all about CD1 Price Cleaners, all right? CD1 Price Cleaners, they're incredible, all right? They got low prices. Customers save over 30% of their dry cleaning bill by switching to CD1 Price Cleaners. They're simple, and they have transparent service. Other cleaners charge a different price for every garment type. Plus, they have upcharges, and you may pay a different price each time you visit. At CD1 Price Cleaners, they charge one low price for every garment. Yep, even sports jerseys, the same one low price. All right, they have a fast turnaround. CD1 Price Cleaners has your order ready the same or next day. Other cleaners take 2 to 4 days to have your clean garments ready. You get text alerts. They'll send you a text when your order is ready for pickup, which, listen, instead of me having to call and ask, like, hey, is my shit ready? They'll just text you and let you know. It's an incredible thing, right? They got a variety of services: dry cleaning, they wash and fold laundry, blankets, comforters, tailoring and alterations. There you go. Thank you, I can't read. Leather cleaning, and then area rug cleaning as well. So they are versatile. They do it all. They are incredible. So visit CHGO.com, CHGO.CD1 or CHGO.CDONE.com. There you go. Third time's a charm. Once you're there, you can pick from an in-store coupon or online pickup and delivery coupon options. First time I've read that one. Sorry, it was a little bit of a roller coaster.
It did end with a little debate for me. You say coupon, I say coupon. Ryan, break the tie.
Coupon.
I'm a coupon guy.
Coupon.
I think they're both right, but they just stood out to me.
It's like caramel versus caramel.
No, that one's caramel.
It's caramel for sure. Absolutely. Caramel.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
See?
Eggs versus eggs.
Oh, there's only one right answer there. People are just mispronouncing it. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Eggs.
FOCO is all pronounced the same.
Yeah, no one is going to mispronounce FOCO, I'll tell you that much. Get fitted out in the best sports gear around. FOCO's got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. You're going to a basketball or a hockey game, show off your love with team-branded friendship bracelets. Oh, that's new. Whether it is jackets, beachwear, or even overalls, there's something for fans for almost every occasion. I know they got those Aloha shirts, too, and those might be really good. That summertime at Wrigley Field, Aloha, a little Hawaiian. You know me, I love my Hawaiian shirts, so FOCO's got it. They even give us some set decorations. Some of our beautiful set decorations all over the office have come from FOCO. They've donated a few awesome pieces for our sets, so go show them some love. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO10 for 10% off.
You can go there and you can get all the good stuff, folks. So do that, and then you can credit us.
Yep.
All right. I'm reading the chat. Y'all are cracking me up. Barb, you're listing so many good comments. I don't know how I'm going to rank your top 10 comments after this show.
When she says something about us interviewing Taylor Swift.
Yeah. She says she thinks that we're going to Super Bowl, Or she keeps asking if we're going to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we're not. They're only sending the Bears guys.
Yeah.
They're sending Braggs and Carm and Hogue and Moriano.
You said, are Cody and Ryan going to the Super Bowl next week?
We could interview
Will
Taylor
they
Swift.
interview Taylor Swift? We don't have an interview lined up, but if she does want to introduce me to Selena Gomez, I'll take that.
Maybe she can introduce me to Travis or Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey's kind of my spirit animal. So, okay. So we wanted to start the show with, the fact that Bellinger, Chapman, Blake Snell, who's the other one? Jordan Montgomery, still free agents. It's February 1st, and they're still free agents. So I guess the question being is, will we be able to go into March in 30 days or 31 days, however many days or no, 29? We're in February, 29, 30? I don't know.
It's a leap year, isn't it? This year?
I think it's a leap year. I think there's 29 days.
29 days?
Yeah.
Will we be able to go into March in 29 days more optimistic about this roster?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think, especially with the guys you've mentioned, I wouldn't be like a total shock, but I would be more inclined to think that those guys' futures are going to be more set by the time we get to March. Especially Bellinger, man. I don't. Again, those guys can sit out. When did Harper and
I saw
Machado,
was it Brendan who tweeted this morning?
I think both were in March of that year, was it?
It was
when
it
they
was
signed?
February, the end of
February?
February. Well, and I mentioned Brendan. I don't know if you saw his tweet, but he tweeted this morning that it was like February 28th, 2019, that Bryce Harper officially signed with the Phillies. So like that went way into spring training, right? So I mean, we've seen it.
February 28th, so the last day of February. Yeah, so we have seen it. So I'm sitting here and I wouldn't be the most shocked person in the world if some of those guys are still. We get to March and spring training games are starting and they're still not signed. But no, I think I do think we will sit here on March 1st and definitely think a little bit better about what the Cubs roster looks like. I think. I think a guy like Cody Bellinger will sign, and again, I still lean towards Cody or the Cubs bringing him back. I think everything we've heard, the tea leaves have said that the Cubs are the most likely destination. And I think that's a guy that they pick up. And I mean, if we're comparing it to right now, adding Bellinger makes the team better, right?
I agree.
I
mean, obviously, we all know this. To me, man, if Cody Bellinger isn't a Chicago Cub by March 1st, but he's still out there, I mean, then I'm really going to get into, like, the Craig Kimbrell, like, situation. I'm going to really start thinking, man, this could be, like, June. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing is like, his situation is not anything close to what Craig Kimbrell's situation was. If you remember Craig Kimbrell's free agency after the 2018 season going into 2019, he was coming off a bad postseason with the Red Sox, even though they won the World Series. If you remember, when they won the World Series, Chris Sale was on the mound for them to get the final outs, not Craig Kimbrell, because he was not good in that postseason. And there were a lot of questions about him. And as we saw it play out, he gets picked up by the Cubs like in the middle of the year. And it's honestly like the only reason, and I will always believe this, the only reason that he signed with the Cubs was because Ben Zobrist left the team, and that opened up money because of whatever. I can't remember the technical words for this, but that to me, that was the only reason Craig Kimbrell was ever a Cub, was because Ben Zobrist had to leave because of his situation off the field with his now ex-wife. So
that still is crazy though that it ended up like June, and Craig Kimbrell, who at the time was still a really good reliever, like he wasn't washed up by any means.
I'm thinking back to that. I think it had to do with draft pick compensation for him. So if he signed later on in the year, and the same with Dallas Keuchel, I think another Boras client. Yeah. If they signed later on in the year, the team that signed him would not have to give up that compensatory pick.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That makes a little bit more sense. Still, it's just crazy to think that Craig Kimbrell.
It's my tinfoil hat theory.
It's just crazy to think that Craig Kimbrell was just not pitching for the first two plus months of the season.
And you saw how that affected him, because he really wasn't good for the Cubs in year one, largely because he didn't have a spring training and You pitched a ton in 2018, pitched all the way to the World Series, right? So, the first year and a half of Craig Kimbrell's Cubs tenure was not good.
I want to ask you guys a question. I obviously don't do a lot of these shows. Cody Bellinger, what's the max years and dollars you'd actually be willing to give him? Because he's had his up and downs in his career. He's been an MVP, and he's also had some seasons where he's barely over 200 on the batting average. So what's your max years and dollars?
I think 7, or maybe 8, and I would hope there's an opt-out in there. Maybe 2. I'd probably go up to 8 years tops.
8 years, 200.
Yeah, I mean I basically have kind of said this all offseason. I think a really fair deal for him is 7 years, 180, and I think Boras is trying to get him 200, like a flat 200. Well, at this point, he should be trying to get him 200. That way, he gets some sign. But I think right now the reason that this has played on as long as it has is because Boras is trying to get him like 250 and still get him like maybe a couple more years. You know what I mean? I think a fair deal or a really good deal for him. A fair deal is 7 years, 180. A good deal for Bellinger, for him, I think is 8 years, 210, something like that.
Yeah, like I think 8 years, 200-ish is probably like maximum, and I don't know if that's what Boras is gonna get. Like I don't know if there's gonna be a team that goes and wants to give him that, considering the injury history and the couple down years prior to 2023 for Bellinger. 780 is like what we've seen get thrown out a bunch of times, or what did I say, 180. Yeah. And that doesn't feel like that feels more fair. Obviously, you might have to overpay a little bit, maybe 185 or something like that. But no, I think right around there is the range of what's between like comfortable and like not too uncomfortable that you don't want to do it. That, to me, I think that's what it feels like. But
okay, because I look at it, there's 2 big players, and if you look at the thumbnail today that we're going to be talking about, the other one's Matt Chapman. 2 very, very different types of player, and I would also say 2 very different types of contract that they're going to command.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger, you're comfortable with going 7-8 years. Matt Chapman, you're not going to want to go anywhere near that, right?
No, definitely.
I think where the Cubs are at now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to give him more than 4 years personally. And we've talked about this too. Like the difference between Cody Bellinger and Matt Chapman is results, but the batted ball data for Chapman is better than Cody Bellinger. So you're thinking he just didn't, the quote unquote luck factor wasn't there for him. He still hit the ball really hard, great exit velocities, all these things. Obviously a great defender. And I don't think Matt Chapman is an absolute you have to get. I think it would make the team better. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I absolutely do think that, and I think it would then make their lineup better, even though his offensive numbers don't show that they were there. Again, the batted ball data was there, but not the results. And take that however you want to take it, right? Again, to answer your question, Stephen, I think I personally would go 3 years max. And if you have to pay him more on AAV, then I'm fine with that because it's the Cubs and they have the money to do that, right?
Yep.
And also it's not going to, in the long term, it's not going to block a guy like Matt Shaw or whoever else that, could be potentially there. So I'm pretty much fine with getting Matt Chapman, but I just don't think it's a must. Like Cody Bellinger is a guy that I feel like it's a must. Like this team, the predicting what this team could be on opening day is only gonna. It's hard. It's hard to even be able to do that right now without him on the roster. So until that day comes, if he signs with someone else, then I guess I can start doing that. But I just think that without him, this team ain't going to be any better than last year. Actually, I'd probably think it's worse. They would need a lot of prospects to pan out and bust on the scene and play well. And if they do, then I'll give a front office credit. But that's a bold move to do going into year 4 of your era, Jed. That's all I can say.
Yeah. No, looks like we've said all along, Bellinger's the priority. That's the guy that feels like they need to get before the season starts. Need to go into 2024 with Bellinger in tow. And obviously, if he goes somewhere else, you're going to have to make a contingency plan, right? You might have to pivot to Matt Chapman. You might need to go the pitching route and sign the Jordan Montgomery or something like that, right? Like,
well, apparently Montgomery's like Gary has said this to me in the Discord a few times. Like that, apparently Montgomery is still getting linked to the Cubs, and I'm honestly surprised by it. Like if they sign Montgomery, then I definitely think they're out on Chapman, and we'll see if Bellinger is still an option. But I mean, Montgomery's going to get like something similar to like what John Lester got, right? Like that's what his like
probably
that's what like MLB trade rumors like predicted, and so just based off that, he'll probably get a little bit more than that, you know, like based off the predictors, because the predictors are never fully right; they're just close. Like the projection, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's we'll see.
So,
I'm not against it. It's just like
well,
you need offense, in my opinion.
I mean, but what I guess the way I'm saying that is like you can pivot to the pitching side and you spend the money. Like the big money on a guy like Jordan Montgomery, and then you can fill in on the offense with, you know, a Brandon Belt type or a JD Martinez type, like the guys we've talked about that may not be your, you know, long-term answers anywhere, and you probably wanted to get better guys in the market, but could still add solid. And I'm saying this is just as missing out on the top bats, which, you know, would be a little bit of an indictment on the front office for missing out on them. But
yes.
But if you do miss out on them, there's other routes you could take to still improve the roster. May not be as on paper, the roster may not look as good as, you know, we kind of pictured it could look when we got into the offseason. But, you know, we'll have to see, man. It's playing this waiting game is
sucks.
it
sucks.
It's given us multiple stretches of like weeks with nothing to talk about, but the exact same people out there. Maybe that's the goal.
Yeah,
just keep their names in the cycle.
It's interesting to hear the chat's like thoughts on this. Jay Andrews, Stephen put his chat up a little bit ago. Chapman 3 years at $22 million per. Bellinger 7 years at $25 million per year, which would equal to $175 million. Chapman's would equal out to $66 million. Like I'm not against that. Like with Bellinger, with his agent, man. Like I would love 7 years, 180. If that ends up being the deal, then like I think we can all give ourselves a pat on the back for being for having a crystal ball. But I just think that he is going to somehow get $200 million from someone, and I think he's worth going over that finally going over that threshold the Cubs have never done before. To me, he's worth it. He's 28 years old. I know he's had one good year in his last like three, whatever. I understand it, but with how versatile he is, the way he's changed his approach, the type of player that he is in general, I think he's going to age well. And I hope there's an opt-out in there too, because he could, if he plays well next year and the year after, perhaps he could make even more money. Because again, he is 28, so you know we'll see what happens. But
and Jay, I think Jay Andrews maybe put in the chat just right now. Like ask both of us if we're. If we are the GM, who are we signing / trading?
Everyone thinks I'm trading everyone.
Yeah, you're trading all the prospects.
Except for Quas, he's staying.
Oh, yeah, Quas is staying.
You're giving up, like, the entire AAA team for, like, one Major League player.
Mm-hmm. And he won't even be that good.
Yeah. No, I think we're sitting here both, like, I think we can both agree, like, the guy you're signing is Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Like, that's your number one option, and it's a priority. It's been the priority for most of this offseason. Yeah. And, I guess we'll see when it happens. But to your question earlier, I still do think it happens in February, like before March, maybe a week, 2 after spring training starts, which that in itself kind of sucks. But I do think we'll see one of those signings happen, or maybe even both of those signings happen by the time we get to March.
Yeah. I hope you're right, man, because at this point I just don't know, and I am tired.
It'd be nice to know.
I am tired of waiting, man. It's been 123 days and counting.
It'd be nice to know.
Hit the free agent market.
Not that you're counting or anything.
Not that I'm counting at all.
Not at all.
Right. So, this is going to be a good transition to next segment, but let's do some ads, or at least the Matt Chapman conversation. So, Ryan, Justin Timberlake tickets go on sale tomorrow. Where can you get these tickets?
You can get them at Game Time.
Yeah. I just needed to hear you say it.
Yeah, you can get them at Game Time. You're a big JT guy, huh?
I am a
so
big JT guy.
So you were a huge NSYNC guy back in the day?
I was actually a big BSB guy, but I just think Justin Timberlake as a solo artist is incredible. But I did like NSYNC as well.
I think Adam Hogue said he already got tickets somehow.
What?
I
need to get in. I need to get in his circle, man. I've been the 2020 Experience album is one of my favorite albums of my life. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, let me ask you though, what could you do with an extra $100 in Vegas if you were there for the big game?
What could I do?
What could you do with an extra $100 in Vegas if you were there for the big game?
Oh man, there's so many shows I could possibly go
to. I might
log on to Game Time and check it out.
Might walk into one of their fabulous casinos and throw it all on black. It's possible.
That's possible too. That's possible.
But you could also use it. At Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. And right now, all users get $100 off when you buy a big game ticket with code Vegas100.
Ooh.
With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I've talked about it. We've both used Game Time many times to buy tickets for sports events or concerts or whatever. You're not getting deals like you do when you use Game Time. One thing I really like about Game Time is getting to see the seat views. Like when you click on the specific ticket and you can kind of see wherever the venue is, you can see like what your view of, the field or the person on stage at a concert. Like I think that's a really cool aspect of it.
It does make it easier to decide where you want to sit, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like our friend Susie Hunter over at DNVR one time Wrigley got stuck behind one of those poles, and I was like, "You should have used Game Time. You would have."
All she had to do was ask.
You would have known.
Told her
where you were going to be sitting. But yeah, Game Time, last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. You get the views from all seats in the venue. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total upfront, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Game Time is obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right at the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Right now, all Game Time users get $100 off a big game ticket with code Vegas100. Terms apply. Just download the Game Time app and use code VEGAS100 for $100 off a big game ticket. Or if you're not going to the big game, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Everyone in the chat talking about how expensive it's going to be to go to the Super Bowl. And listen, that's why I use code CHGO, and you can get tickets to something going on here, right? But if you're in Vegas, there's other things to do too.
There's a lot of awesome stuff to do in Vegas.
They're really sending my guy Greg Braggs to Vegas. He might not come back alive, brother. That's all I can say.
I felt that way about myself going to Vegas multiple times, so I can imagine.
Barb is on a mission to get us to Vegas. She wants to write someone to tell them that they should send me and you to Vegas.
Yeah. Also, the whole chat is saying that me and Selena Gomez would be a cute couple. So thank you.
Big of them to say, Ryan.
Yeah, Selena, if you're watching or listening,
hello, Selena. Do you have any friends?
Follow me on Twitter and we'll talk.
You know what will get Selena to DM you, Ryan? Some bacon.
Oh,
all right. Bacon will get you anything.
Yeah.
All right.
You got that right.
Especially if it's from Charlie the Bacon Guy, who I saw in the chat earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge your chat, Charlie, but I'm reading your ad now. So this is for you, brother. All right. Charlie the Bacon Guy is based out of Woodridge, Illinois, and he makes craft bacon and bacon jams for over 35 different flavors. Luke Stuckmeyer's tried all of them, and he loves all of them. Credit to him. The bacon and bacon jams are all naturally cured, preservative-free products. There aren't any ingredients that Charlie can't pronounce himself involved in the process, unlike most store-bought bacon. It's vacuum sealed and freezes perfectly. Bacon lasts in the package up to 60 up to 60 in the fridge 1 week after the seal is broken, and 9 months in the freezer. 9 months if you put it in the freezer. That's a long time.
That's incredible. Right? I mean, but like, are you really going to go 9 months without?
No, I'm definitely not going to go 9 months. But if you stock up, man, you know, listen. Maybe sometimes buying in bulk is the smart thing to do, true. Right? All right. The bacon jam lasts about 90 days in the fridge and up to 1 year in the freezer. Some of the favorites are maple, pepper, rosemary, chorizo, French toast, Korean barbecue, jardinera, ranch, Old Bay. Bacon jam flavors are original, bourbon, spicy. The bacon jam goes perfectly on anything. Put it on scrambled eggs, toast, crackers, burgers, grilled cheese, charcuterie boards, or Charlie's favorite, the spoon. So starting now, you can save 10% off on your order at charliethebaconguy.com when you use the code CHGO at checkout. You can pick it up, which is the most efficient way, to be honest with you, or he will deliver it to you, meet you halfway, or even ship it. He makes the bacon so you can bring it home. You can visit his website at charliethebaconguy.com. He's on Instagram, Twitter. Instagram is charliethebaconguy. Twitter is czthebaconguy. You can even send him an email at charliethebaconguy@gmail.com.
Our friend Gary, being Gary and reminding me that Selena Gomez has a boyfriend. I know. The day
I did not know. Who is she dating these days?
Benny Blanco.
Oh, okay.
I found that out a couple weeks ago, and it ruined my week. So I was in a bad mood.
I think all of us are better looking than Benny Blanco. We're still in the running, is what I'm saying.
It's not over.
A little less money. That's it. Yeah,
sometimes you just gotta be persistent.
It ruined my week. So
it's like
thank you for ruining my day again, Gary.
It's like when Vanessa Hudgens got married to Cole Tucker, who was on the Rockies recently.
Yeah,
like it ruined my. It kind of ruined my day and my week at the time because it meant that the dream is officially over. The dream lived for like 15 years, bro. From the moment I saw her on High School Musical, it ended. That whenever Cole Tucker ruined it. All right.
Yep.
Okay, so before we went to those ads, we were talking about Bellinger, Matt Chapman, and I said at the beginning of the show that I was reading a blog from Bleacher Nation today, and it was like their Bullets article or whatever. And speaking of them, he did write an article about us and how we interviewed Tommy Hotovy. So thank you, Brett. Thank you for promoting that for us. But in this particular one I was reading, it was talking about the scenario of like, what if the Cubs are forced or put in a position where they're forced to play Christopher Morel at third base, as in if there's injuries or whatnot. And he said something in there related to like if there's an injury to Nick Madrigal or Patrick Wisdom or both, basically both, right? Mm-hmm. I generally agree with that, but obviously I think he deserves. Oh, maybe not deserves. I'd obviously love to see him get the opportunity over them two. It's just all about what we're going to see in spring training, and so. I am curious what happens if they do get in a position where they're like those two get hurt or and Matt Shaw's not ready and like what will they do? You know what I mean? Like will they actually play him at third if it comes down to that, if they decide that they don't want to? Because, and I say this because at Cubs Convention, as I've mentioned many times since Cubs Convention, the front office has kind of walked back on how they view him, in which they basically said that they think they can still play him all around the field instead of just one position, and that makes me want to pull my hair out.
No, that's a good question, and that scenario, while somewhat unlikely, is definitely possible. I mean, is that
Madrigal has shown to have injury problems. Wisdom, he's shown, like, I think he's good in a role where he is off the bench and not playing every day and only facing lefties, mm-hmm. You know what I mean, that don't throw high fastballs. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are so, like, they're good in one particular role, right? While Christopher Morel, obviously the offense, he's gotten better rephrase that. He's gotten better last year compared to the year before. So it's like, do you risk a little bit of the defense at third so you can keep him in the lineup and maybe putting someone else in at DH in that scenario if those two were to get hurt? Like, to me, like, it's not necessarily a hard question to answer, but as I've seen from the Chicago Cubs over the course of my life, they make things harder than it seems that it needs to be at times. And again, they know more about Christopher Morel playing third base than I do.
Yeah.
But
well, so in that scenario, Madrigal's out, Wisdom's out. Mastrobone, did you mention him?
I did not mention Mastrobone. But perhaps he'd probably be their third option.
Or even Matt Shaw's not ready. And here's the thing. In that scenario, if Morel's not playing third base in that kind of scenario, then you really know how they feel about him. If they're doing something like bringing Michael Busch from first, moving him from first to third, right? He played a lot of third base last year for when he was actually up in the Dodgers. If they do that, if they bring up like Luis Vasquez, someone like that to go in and play third, and they're not giving Morel the run in that scenario that you're talking about, then I think that really shows you how they kind of feel about what he does at third base.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if we got to that point where a lot of their biggest or their main options at third base are hurt and are unable to play or aren't playing well or whatever it is, and they still don't put Morel in there. Then that tells you, that kind of tells you what they think about him at third base. And I think Brendan has actually put like kind of side by side videos of, and you can see that you could just see the arm angle when he's throwing it from third base. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Arenado or Machado, but it was like a comparison, right? And you could see the arm angle that Morel he has on his throws, and you can and then you understand why it's kind of his throws can get so wild sometimes. It's just not as compact and straightforward as some of those, the best third baseman that you got or in the majors, right? So that's it seems like a pretty clear area for him to clean up. But like you said, this spring will be pretty telling about all that. Like, what has he done all off season? What has he worked on? Has he picked up on anything? And has he improved defensively over there to give himself a shot to be that third baseman? Obviously, considering what was said at Cubs convention, it doesn't feel that way yet right now. But there are still right around 2 months to the season starts. What can he show them in spring training? That's huge for him. Also, Gary wants me to say Jake Slaughter. I'm going to be honest, if it gets to a point where Jake Slaughter is their starting third baseman, a lot has gone wrong. Just injury-wise, guys underperforming. There are just a number of players ahead of him on that, in that, going up the ladder, that you probably suffered a bunch of injuries or just really bad performances that they needed to turn to Jake Slaughter. Nothing against the guy. He's just not, from what I've heard or what I've seen, he just doesn't seem like he's as much of a priority to get up to the big leagues as some of these other guys.
Yeah. No, I in general agree. I just felt like bringing it up because it's a kind of a way of with Morel that we haven't talked about all off season. Tony in the chat says Morel has to play every day, even if he's just a DH. Too much good vibes and power. We don't have enough 30 to 40 homer guys. And that's kind of my thing on why I even brought it up to begin with. It's like they have to find a way to get this guy in the lineup. You know what I mean? Like, he's too athletic. Yeah. He obviously makes an impact in the lineup. They got to play him. So, again, the magnifying glass will be over this kid in spring training. Where will they be having him play? It's going to be the thing. Honestly, it'll probably be the thing that I'm paying attention to the most as far as guys who are on this roster. So we'll see what works out here. Let me tell you one more ad that we got here. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
Yeah, the electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence toward an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do, Ryan?
Well, let me tell you, Cody, Steven's over on the ones and twos. Pay attention. Mario pulling up and saying, hell yeah.
Because he's waiting to come on to do Blackhawks.
You pay attention, too. Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
I was reading the chat, and Barb's getting crazy again. What did you say? ComEd.com/clean?
I did say ComEd.com/clean. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Okay. Thanks, y'all, hanging out today. Corey and Brennan will be tomorrow. They won't be live. I'm pretty sure they will not be live.
Barb knows. Barb knows that one is not live.
Yeah, Barb knows. She knows. Hit that like button. We got 46 likes with 131 people watching. We even got a thumbs down. But for the people that are here and you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. It means a lot. We'll be back Monday. Hopefully Bellinger signs over the weekend. And if he does, we'll do an emergency podcast. We keep saying that all offseason, but we're just waiting.
We've been waiting. Been waiting for a while.
What is it? The 4th, February 4th, 2424.
2424.
That's when Bellinger's signing next.
That's Sunday.
That's Sunday.
So
we'll see you on the emergency podcast on Sunday. All right. And the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks, so there won't be any football on. So I'll definitely be locked in.
There you go.
All right. Also, I'll be in the Discord doing the what do we call it? The overtime, the voice chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll be in there either
or extra innings.
Ooh, I like that too.
That's how we'll rebrand it. The extra innings.
The extra innings. Yeah, I'll be in the Discord doing voice chat tonight or tomorrow, maybe both, just because I love y'all. All right.
There you go.
So tune into that.
Become a diehard if you want to be in that.
Yeah, become a diehard. And if you don't come to that, then I'll see you on 2424 when Cody Bellinger signs with the Cubs. All right. Thanks for checking out CHGO Cubs Podcast. We'll see you Monday or Sunday or both. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.